Now, you may not know this, kids. Some of you may know it, the older ones, but there are lots and lots of people in Europe, that's the kind of bigger area that we live in, who are having to leave their homes and everything in their homes and the shelter and the warmth that they get from their homes because the places that they live in aren't safe to live anymore. And we call these people refugees because they're looking for refuge, they're looking for shelter, they're looking for a place that they can call home away from their own homes. And it's very sad they have to leave their homes because they don't want to, but they can't stay there because it's dangerous. My name is Johnny. I am a founding member of the Earlsfield Friary. I'm also an ordained priest in the Church of England and curate at St Andrew's, also in Earlsfield. Did you know, folks, Jesus was a refugee? Because when he was born, King Herod, who was the king at the time, who was a nasty, nasty bit of work, he was very jealous of Jesus, baby Jesus. He wanted to kill baby Jesus. So Jesus, and this is really important because Jesus is the person we follow, Jesus really, really understands what these people from Syria and Afghanistan are going through because he was a refugee. So like many people, I've been really distressed by what I've seen on the news and social media this last few weeks. And in the end, it's led me to the question in many people, I suppose, which is what to do about this. There's always something you can do. Once when Lisa and I were really worried about another country called Kosovo, which is another place in Europe, and we were really worried about the people there, but it seemed like impossible to help them. Somebody stood up and said to us this. They said, listen, do anything. And they were quite cross with us. They said, do anything, but for God's sake, do something. Do anything, but for God's sake, do something. After doing a little bit of research, we came to the conclusion the key needs right now are for shelter, in particular thinking about tents and sleeping bags that can fit people out for the winter season. We can buy tents, we can buy sleeping bags, and we can buy really good torches, and we can take them down to these places on our borders where there are lots and lots of people. Why do this? Why not simply give money to a well-known charity? The answer to us is really quite simple. We want to say welcome to these people even before they can cross the borders into our homeland. They're just people like us looking for a home, coming from homes that they had to leave under real duress and stress. It would be very easy to simply blame politicians and political decisions that have been made in years before. But actually what we believe is that at a grassroots level, if communities do not take responsibility, we will never see the change that we're looking for. So, day 2. We finally managed to get our Amazon wish list online last night after a few hiccups. And 24 hours later, we want to have a look at it. This is my wife, Lisa, who's going to be coming with us on our trip to Calais. So we're going to just log on now and see. We haven't looked at this all day.
64 and 61.
64.
Wow. And that's since what time last night?
11 o'clock last night. So not even 24 hours. That's incredible. I'm actually... Can we get any more information about it? Or I mean, I think what's blowing my mind is just how quickly the whole thing has come together, because it wasn't so long ago that we were sitting in a coffee shop after the school drop-off and the idea was proposed and agreed, and boom, 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 we're away, and suddenly you know, here we are with loads and loads of people. I mean, it kind of tells you the power of social media at its best, you know, in terms of getting people on board with something, and it's obviously also saying something about the mood of people.
So we'd set 100 as a target because that's what we thought we could fit into the back of the X Trail. But it's clearly going to be completely smashed because it's 64 already and in less than 24 hours.
We're going to need to take the trailer, I think, if it carries on like this.
But if we take the trailer, then I've got to drive with the trailer.
Yep.
And I've never done that. Okay. Hey.
When I heard about how we could get involved and what we could do, and as a community we decided to start trying to set up this wish list and collect, I thought, well, how can I be more involved? So I offered my home as the depot. I can't go to Calais as much as I'd love to because I've got 2 young children, but this is how I can get involved.
That is ridiculous.
This is why I needed you 10 minutes ago to help me bring it in. I obviously didn't realise quite how many boxes there would be and quite how much it would involve me spending my days in waiting for these incredibly large deliveries.
Right, we're going to have to shift these around a bit, aren't we?
But it's absolutely fantastic seeing how generous people have been, and it's been quite overwhelming actually when the delivery came this morning and I saw all of those boxes stacked up outside. It just kind of blows you away, the generosity of people and how many people genuinely want to help with this situation.
Yeah, you can see the recycling outside, but as soon as we put it out, we're filling up more bags just as quickly. So come and see what we got in here. And look, we've got sleeping bags arrived. I think there's 12 here now, and there's loads more to come. So by the weekend there'll be a big pile. But first, we've got lots of boxes to unpack.
I think the value of what we brought in was around about just under £6,000. Tarpaulins because of the weather, and sleeping bags for winter because of the coming change in season.
We got in the X Trail and headed down to the Eurotunnel. And coming out, I suppose because you're more aware of why you're there, you begin to see all this razor wire and high fencing and no man's land between different areas. And I was actually there on holiday only a month earlier, and it's increased even in that time.
So when we got to France, we first of all went to a French NGO's warehouse and we unloaded it all into there. They also obviously didn't just have sleeping bags and tarpaulins there, they had lots of bin liners full of people's generous donations that they're hoping to get to the people, and very well-meaning, well-meant donations. But the problem is that it's not always the right things that people are sending. At one point, I was emptying a bag and many of the clothes were baby clothes. And they had poo stains all the way up their back, some of them.
This is a Christmas Santa outfit that has been donated with a broken zip. Very helpful.
It's quite shocking to think that people donate those things and that they think, I don't even know what they think.
It was an interesting process going through this. I think we've learned an enormous amount. Initially, I saw myself at the back of a truck handing out blankets and things to people that wanted it and giving myself an enormous sense of fixing something. But we quickly realised that if everyone came and did that, it's inefficient. We don't even know if we're giving the right stuff to the right people. And so we realised we rocked up and we unloaded our stuff into a warehouse.
So going to the jungle, I wasn't entirely sure what to expect, but I guess I did have some expectations because there were some things that really shocked me. I expected someone or an organisation or several organisations on the ground to really be running the camp and organising the camp.
You walk into this place and it doesn't feel like Europe. It feels like somewhere different. Tents, lots of tents and clothes on the ground, and it's wet and it doesn't smell good, and there's just rubbish strewn around, and it's like you've walked into a kind of another world.
It's horrendous to see the type of shelter that they have right now. A few of them have managed to break down pallets and build them into slightly more structured, not houses, but spaces, like a shed almost, with tarpaulins over the top, so that it can hold up a little bit more to the elements. But most of them are still in just very small, very flimsy tents.
These are people that are putting things together like an arts space that we found through scavenging. There was an Ethiopian Coptic church that we visited, and a library that someone had set up behind that. So there were these sort of icons of hope in the midst of the camp. But don't be fooled for a minute. It's called the jungle for a reason.
Amkjörnerov, kočerov, min zajretsir Sirumei, oguzverov, berktogessir Hishu memkes Jamanatner Amkjörnerov, kočerov, min zajretsir Sirumei, oguzverov, berktogessir Siru memkes